Hey y'all, I'm giving you the pre-hike video after the hike. So I got up really early this morning to come back out to Government Canyon, and I was going to be here right at 7, and I was going to hike all the way out to the Cave Creek Canyon Trail, the one with the spider as the symbol on the post. It was going to end up being a 15-mile day, which I was super excited about. I was ready for. I got to Government Canyon, got there right at 7. Was not the first one in the park, but I was like number 4. Got parked, got out of my truck, got all my stuff on, got to the visitor center, and there was a sign saying all trails are closed except for the Discovery Trail, which is like their little nature trail. So I was like, well, that stinks. So then I was like, well, I'm gonna go do the Discovery Trail. Do something easy today, do that, and then I'll go home and be lazy. Like, that's fine. It's not a big deal. I'll do the 15-mile some other day. So I did the Discovery Trail, and it was wonderful. It was great. Like, I really liked that a lot. And it had signs that explained some of the vegetation, and I got to learn some new things. So after the Discovery Trail, I went back to the visitor center, and I heard some guy say, oh, the trails are open. And so I looked at the sign. Sure enough, trails are open. So I asked the ranger who was standing there, and she's like, yeah, we had them closed because it rained really hard a couple days ago, and the trails were super muddy and gross, and they have erosion problems. They opened them this morning after I had already started the Discovery Trail. I was like, ooh, they're open. Don't tempt me with a good time. But I knew 15 miles after doing, at that point I'd done 2 miles. So add 15 to that, that's 17. And I was like, that's pushing it. And it was already probably around 8:30 at that point. So I'm like, now we're going to run against the clock in the heat. So I changed my mind. So I decided, well, I'm trying to do every trail out here. So let's go for trails that I have not done yet, which there's still a few. So I ended up doing the Recharge Trail, and which went out to the Far Reaches Trail, and then came back on the Sendero Balcones. I can't remember. I'll put it in the video. So it was all new trails for me, and I had a really good time. So that's why I have this video at the beginning, because I actually did a pre-video as I was leaving, but it was based on my first plan, which didn't happen really at all. So I thought, well, that's not going to make any sense. So now I'm doing this one, putting it at the beginning. Now you're going to see the hikes, and I'll summarize it at the end. Good morning. So I'm doing the Discovery Trail at Government Canyon today. It's a shorter hike. All the other trails are closed. So the thermometer in my truck said it was 68 degrees. But y'all, it is a little chilly. The wind is cold and there's like no humidity. So this is completely opposite from last week. But I am not complaining. I'm assuming there's poison ivy in here somewhere. But I think all the leaves are off of it right now. So I don't see any. So one of the things I do appreciate about nature trails or discovery trails, whatever you want to call them, is that they usually have signs explaining the vegetation and some of this stuff. So I guess today I'm going to do an easy hike and I'm going to actually learn about what's here in Texas. So I know what poison ivy is, but I don't know some of the other stuff. I don't see any birds today. I don't even hear them. It's very, very, very quiet. Live oak. So that'd be that big tree right there. Persimmons. We have a dead tree. Agarita? I think this would be a better trail to go on in the spring and the summer. Everything's kind of fall winterish right now. So a lot of things are dead. Way for ash. interesting. Right there. Discovery Trail. Got a junction. Oh yeah. That's ball moss, y'all. It just dead ends with a bench. It's cool. Frostweed. No flowers right now. You can see where they were though. Always wondered what those were called. Now I know. Spiny evergreen plant. It's edible. That's cool. Ash. Juniper. Which is gonna be that. This is not the most dramatic trail. It's definitely flat. No rocks. No climbs. But it's peaceful. It is kind of magical in here though. It's very like, not overgrown, but a lot of these trees reach over the trail. Only a couple feet above my head. It's pretty cool. Common elm, cedar elm. Which is this right here. Whatever that is makes like a wall. That's this. There's no leaves on anything right now, so that's tough. I don't think that's what that is. It's all about the water. One mile. Another plant that's dead for the winter. I bet that's beautiful in the spring. All right, we're at the end. So, change of plans. So I just did the Discovery Trail, and while I was doing that, they opened all the trails. Too late for me to try to do a 15-miler day to go out to Cave Creek Canyon. So instead, I'm gonna do the Far Reaches Trail and then come back on, can't remember the name. I'll tell you later when I'm on it. That's gonna be about 8 miles, and then I just did a 1.5 miles. It'll still be a good day. All right, so I just split off to the Recharge Trail. I've been on this one before to go to the Spurs. So I just passed a junction that split off to the campground. I didn't video because there's lots of people. I think there's another junction up here. And I think that's the one that goes back to the Joe Johnston Trail. Oh no, I lied. So that's where I'm gonna come out at. I'm gonna go do this loop and come down that way. This is beautiful. It's very open. Far Reaches Trail. All right, let's go. Let's go find some views. You know I love the views. It's very pretty. Oh, it changes already. Look at that. It's so cool. It's a very tight, woodsy area. Just an observation. I've been on a good number of hikes out here now. It's my 4th time out here, but I've covered like most of the park. But something that fascinates me is that there's so many different types of scenery in such a small space. Like you have open plains and grass fields, and then you'll go into these really dense forests, and then you'll go into these areas that's just all prickly brush. And then you have areas where it's just black dirt, and then you have areas where it's just sand. And then there's parts of the trail that are just nothing but rocks, like loose rocks. And then you have parts of the trail that are like solid rock. It's just so fascinating to me. It's such a small park. And there's so much variety and diversity in it. Back into open fields again. Yeah. There's a neighborhood. So we're actually climbing pretty steadily. Look back, you can see it. This is one of the overlooks. It's pretty impressive. Probably for the last mile, it's been a steady climb, but I feel like now we're at the top. Okay, I lied. We're climbing again. Going down for real this time. It's actually going down quite a bit. I don't think that captures it, but it's pretty steep. Going back up again. This trail's got the rolling hills going on. Up and down, up and down. These things are huge. They're called Sotol, S-O-T-O-L. There's actually an Outlook up here with that name, and now I know why. Because these are everywhere and they're huge. Yeah, this is the overlook that's named after that plant. This plant. It's like front and center. The bench. For reference, that thing's huge. So I don't know if that picture captured that, but those things are over 5 feet tall. I'm 5'4" and it was at my head. And they're very spiky and sticky. It's almost like a yucca plant or an aloe plant, but skinnier and definitely sharper on the spines. Here we're at the junctions. This looks familiar from last week. Far Reaches. So we completed the Far Reaches trail. That's it for that one. So I went this way last week. I did Wildcat Canyon last week. Today we're gonna do this. So the Far Reaches trail was very windy. You couldn't see very far ahead because the trail was curvy. This trail, it's completely straight. You can see forever. You can see way down in there. No, you can see. It goes forever. It's very straight. It's a Bluff Spur Trail. That's an earlier video where I just did the Bluff Spur Trail. That was my first hike out here, actually. I've now done the entire length of that one. Back at the Recharge Trail, we are headed back to the car. So thoughts on today's hike. I'm sad it didn't go as planned, but that's okay. Discovery Trail, 10 out of 10. That was great. It's a nature trail. It's legit easy. Like anybody could walk that. It's 1.5 miles and it's flat and it's no rocks, nothing to trip on. And I really like the plaques that explain some of the vegetation because I'm not from Texas, so I know what some of this stuff is, but I don't know what a lot of it is. It's new to me, so. And that did inform when I got out to that overlook, I actually knew what that spiky plant was called, so I felt really smart. The Recharge Trail. That's basically, it looks like a Forest Service road. It's very well graded. It's easy. I would call it easy. There were a couple places where it got rocky, but like it's flat. 1 mile out, 1 mile back. If you're looking for another easy trail, that's a good one. The Far Reaches Trail. That was an interesting one. I felt like I was climbing the entire way. It was gradual, but I felt like I could feel I was going up. There were two views. The first view wasn't that great because it was just like neighborhoods. They have developed out towards this direction, suburbs of San Antonio. So I don't know. I'm not really, I don't get excited about overlooks where I'm just looking at a bunch of subdivisions. And the second one was nice because it had all the plants. You could see the hills and mountains and a lot of greenery. So that was a lot more scenic. And then came out on the Sendero Balcones trail. And that was an easy one. I've done portions of that one on my other hikes because they connected to other things. Nothing really stood out from that, but this section that I did was straight. like there were no bends in it. Not really. I mean, there were a few. It was very rocky, so I will say that, very rocky. And I didn't video, but I did cut off of the recharge trail on accident a little early, and I ended up in the campground. And I didn't video that because there were quite a few people and kids running around, and it was nice to see that too, because I don't think I'll ever camp here, but nice to see. I would say the Far Reaches Trail, that's probably like a 9 out of 10. That was a good trail. The Balcones Trail, 10 out of 10. That was a nice trail. I enjoyed that one. And then the Recharge Trail, maybe like an 8 out of 10 just because it was easy and it was a road and it wasn't very, I mean, not a road, but like a Forest Service road, and it wasn't incredibly scenic. So, but if you're looking to get some miles in, that's a good place to do that, or do some trail running. So one more comment about my Government Canyon experience. Today, I saw 8 or 9 people that I saw last week, and I saw a few weeks ago. So I'm not the only one that comes out here almost every week. And actually the one guy recognized me. He was like, hey, what's up? I'm a part of the crowd now, so that's cool. I'm gonna go to Walmart and get some food because I'm hungry. One more thing I was going to mention. So nobody picked on what I was wearing today. I did have my Pacific Crest Trail buff for anybody who is curious. But I did get asked where I was from, which I hate when people ask me that question because it's so complicated. And I hesitated, and then the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't have to answer that. And I'm like, I don't think you're being creepy. It's just a complicated answer. So I told him, I'm like, well, I was born in Minnesota, raised in California. I've lived in Nebraska, Indiana, Michigan, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Germany, New York, Florida, and now Texas. I think I got them all. And I was telling them that, like, I almost had the cops call on me a while back because I went to check into a hotel in Arkansas and I had Oklahoma plates on my truck and I have a New York driver's license, and they're like, I'm a mutt. I don't belong anywhere, and my legal state of residency is Minnesota, but not because I was born there, so don't ask. Everybody has a story. And that guy wasn't from here either, and his story sounded pretty complicated too. Didn't have time to hear his whole story. He didn't want to tell it all to me, but anyways, it was amusing. It made me laugh, and I chuckled most of the hike from that. So, bye.